Mike Bohn here at Xtreme Couture with the champ, Francis Ngannou. A little over a month away from your title defense, UFC 270. Ciryl Gane, man. How's it feel just to be in the middle of camp? Is this where it's starting to get pretty intense, the training?
Yeah, training is getting pretty intense, but I feel pretty good by now. The training camp is going pretty good. We schedule everything right. My weight is going down. Conditioning is getting there. I'm very excited for this fight.
Is there a change in mentality now that you are the champion? Because you're always hunting for the belt, right? And now I know you're the predator, but you're kind of the prey to all these guys, right? They want what you have.
No, really, I don't think there's a change mentality because even though I have a belt, but it's not like I have accomplished, So there's still a lot of things out there for me, a lot of things that I can conquer, a lot of things that I can, that my eyes in on, and I want to conquer that. So I still have the same motivation, At the end of the day, he was a belt and he was cool. Don't get me wrong, but he was just a bird, and the challenges are still out there. Life is still the same, and I still have a lot of time ahead of me to improve my game, and to make a bigger statement in the sport.
Yeah, and you brought in Rico Verhoeven, right? You were recently training with him. How did that come together?
Well, he reached out because he was coming He was coming here in the U.S., but we've been in contact for 1 year at least now. But unfortunately, he couldn't stay longer. But he was a pretty good, very good experience from his kickboxing experience, because he's a kickboxing background, and Ciryl Gane is a kickboxer. So it was a good workout. A few days, but pretty useful.
Yeah. Anyone else you're planning on bringing in this camp? Any other tricks up your sleeve?
Yeah. I have a lot of tricks. I have Tony Johnson. You might not know him. He's a champion of the ACA. Pretty good, pretty good competitor. And I have Xavier, some good guy around that I bring into my camp. I wanted Easy to come, but the New Zealand situation is not easy now due to the COVID. But he would be a good fit for me, for my for the movement and the cage control and everything. But
he can still give you some tips on the phone and stuff, right?
Yeah. He's pretty good at cage control, movement, and all those stuff. So having him in person would have been great, but we couldn't make it. And he was really willing to come down here for it. But the situation in New Zealand is not very easy to travel.
Is the preparation for Ciryl challenging? He's never lost before, right? So there's no fights you can watch of him, being exposed or doing certain things wrong. Does that make it a little more difficult fighting an undefeated opponent?
No, undefeated opponent doesn't mean anything. For me, I think undefeated just means he has a lack of experience when it comes at some point, because it's not a full experience. Losing a fight is a learning process as well. So if you haven't get there, you can understand something. So I think that's the thing, And I have fight undefeated fighters before, so it's not my first time, and I know how it is, whether you're defeated or undefeated. When you get in the cage and they lock that cage, it's just you and your opponent, and nothing matter at that point.
And I know a lot was made about New York when you walk past Ciryl and Fernand and everything. What do you think of that now? Like, did people make too much of that moment just because of the way it was filmed and all that kind of stuff, or was there something more to that?
No, I don't feel any different about it. If I was about to go to the same scene, I would have done the same thing. I did what I thought was best at that moment, and obviously this wasn't directed to Ciryl, because personally I have no problem with him. We are obviously an adversary right now, but as everyone, he's a fight business, and we are doing that to provide to our family, and we all give each other opportunity to challenge themselves in this level. So I don't have anything personal about him, but the thing, I couldn't just go knowing what the allegation and all the lies that Fernand has been saying to me since I haven't talked to him in 2-3 years, but he's out there picking on me. So I couldn't just go to him like pretend like everything's cool. No, I mean, I have no problem, but it's not cool because I know that he doesn't carry me on his heart. So that was the only problem.
No, that makes sense for sure. And Ciryl did some interviews this week. He said, Francis knows I know how to take away his power. What do you think he means by that?
Well, maybe by going to the floor, because that's what I know. He knows that as well, as I'm able to like put somebody in the floor. So that might be what he means by that. Say Francis know how to take it. I know how to take away his power. By getting down, that's how he took away my power from my experience.
And he says a lot that, you know, this fight is going to go long. I'm going to, you know, win a decision. That seems to be his prediction. Why do you think, you know, he maybe doesn't feel as confident that he can finish you?
No, that's probably his prediction, because he has nowhere else to go. He has nothing else to do instead of like expecting to jump around and waiting for the decision. Like I'm sure he's gonna be like, oh, we're gonna take him to the long run or the deep water and this, you know, that can be his only prediction, which very contrary of my prediction, which is like knocking me out. You know.
Yeah, for sure. And you seem to be in a very good place right now and everything, but I know you've talked a little bit about, you know, your relationship with the UFC and the contract and everything. Has there been any changes there, or are you kind of, the situation is what it is until this fight happens, and then we'll see what happens after that?
The situation is what it is, but what I try to do is not to let anything step into me and the fight, because at the end of the day, I'm not allowed to get distracted by anything. You know, he will be on me if I get something wrong, because I was distracted by all the thing around. You know, I signed up for this fight, so I better take it seriously and focus on it. And doesn't matter what happened on the side. We're going to deal with that after.
Yeah, fair enough. And I don't know if you saw Jon Jones. He did an interview yesterday, and he said his plan is to fight either April in Madison Square Garden or International Fight Week in July. Could be one of those two. Are you expecting, if you win this fight, to fight Jon Jones next?
Personally, I don't really care about that anymore. You know, there is a lot of talk about Jon Jones. He says a lot of things, and yet we are still here. And I wasn't even expecting fighting someone other than Jon Jones after the Stipe fight, but here I am, almost 10 months away, going to fight Ciryl Gane, which wasn't in the picture, in the landscape at that moment at all. So what Jon Jones says and what Jon Jones does, it's two different things, and I can't bet on that. I can put my money on that, you know. So as I said, I just do what I'm gonna do, and we don't know what the future holds for us.
You're kind of over it by that point. Until the contract is signed with Jon Jones, you're not giving it too much thought.
No, at all. It's not something that I'm running against anymore.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And last thing I wanted to ask you, this feels like this could be the biggest year of your career coming up. You're fighting in January. If you can fight 2-3 times, maybe you're the fighter of the year next year, right? Like, do you think this could be, you know, kind of one of the defining years of your career coming up? If you can defend the title a few times, everyone's kind of going to be looking at you as one of the big stars of 2022?
Every year for me is very decisive year. He defines me as a fighter, you know, because I don't any step, whether I'm a champion or not, I take every step very seriously, and it's very important. Anything that I signed up for and have to do, I dedicate myself to that, and give my best to that. So I think that's why every year is good for me. I can't really tell about what's going on what's going to happen in 2022, but what I do know for fact is that I'm going to do my best. Doesn't matter what's come my way. You know, we are here now still talking about like 2022. I was at the beginning of 2021, I was expecting to fight like 2-3 times, yet I'm still here, you know, and you know, so I don't have control of all those stuff. I can just do the best that I can do.
And one thing you do have control of is your fight coming up, obviously. We're a few short weeks away. Just tell the people who are going to be ordering the pay-per-view, what can they expect when you and Ciryl Gane get locked in the octagon on January 22nd?
Well, January 22nd is going to be a very big night between Ciryl and me, because regardless, they promote this fight pretty good, and you can take and you can take away his talent. He's a good guy. He's a very talented. He's a good contender. He's a good competitor, and I am the predator. I'm the champion. You know, so it's a pretty good matchup. And what I do know for sure is that people are gonna see a good fight.
Absolutely. Well, there it is.
Probably ended up with some exciting knockout, but it's going to be a good fight, a good opposition between two of us.
Yeah, this is as good as it gets. Really appreciate the time, Francis. It's great to see you in such great spirits, and thank you so much for the interview. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much, Mike.